February the 2nd, 2022. Guys, quick update on this fire in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Big fertilizer plant there. And 6,500 people from the surrounding area were evacuated yesterday, and this thing is still burning. I guess it started with a small explosion, and you can see that a good bit of the section of the plant is still smoldering. The problem here is you've got 500 tons of ammonium nitrate in the buildings and another 100 tons in the trains that you see on the tracks there to the right. So 600 tons. To put that in perspective, the Lebanon port that blew up, I think it was last year, because of this ammonium nitrate that blew that port all to pieces and destroyed buildings for miles. Now, the article is in different places, different news sections. I think the Fox out of Winston-Salem there, they're covering the story, but they're not all talking about all of the effects here. It was last year when I think it was Louisiana that got hit with the hurricane and wiped out a big fertilizer plant there. Remember that? Well, now, at that point, we were already starting to suffer some fertilizer shortages that were coming up for this year. And the price has shot up, guys. It's probably up 25 or 30% since last year. We'll take a look at this information. That's going to be important. We've lost two major fertilizer plants now. And like I said, the prices had already gone up. Let's check out the information. It says an uncontrolled fire burns at a North Carolina fertilizer plant early Wednesday as there's still a risk of explosion, forcing thousands of people to evacuate their homes in the surrounding communities, according to local news, WXII-TV. Winston Weaver's company, Winston-Salem plant, caught fire Monday night and continues to burn days later. The plant produces ammonium nitrate and has more than 500 tons of potentially explosive chemicals in storage. Now, again, that's in the building. Another 100 tons are in the train cars. There's been no improvement on the scene. Conditions have not improved. A spokesperson for the city of Winston-Salem said during a press briefing at 4:30 Eastern Time, that was yesterday, the potential for explosion is still there. Now, again, this is going back to yesterday afternoon, but it's still, they're having problems now. They said it could be a week or more to 10 days before they can even get back in the building or the area. The out-of-control fire forced firefighters to retreat and led local officials to evacuate 6,500 people who live within 1 mile. At a news briefing on Tuesday afternoon, officials said an explosion is possible within 36 hours. I guess they've calculated the time this heat and flames can move to the section of the plant maybe where we've got 500 tons stored. And the fire chief, Trey Mayo, said, "I've been in this business 33 years, and when I learned how much ammonium nitrate was on site, I felt as uneasy at a fire scene as I felt in my 33 years in the business." Again, Chief Trey Mayo, Winston-Salem. And this image is coming from the city of Winston-Salem itself. You can see the fire spreading. I think the train cars are to the right in this image. I think I see some there. So, again, it looks like the winds that are bringing the cooler air are pushing the smoke south and west of you guys. They're saying, for some context, now we'll be talking about 20% of the Port of Beirut, Lebanon explosion on August 4th, 2020. But it was 2,750 tons stored there. We got 600 tons stored in Winston-Salem. So about 20-something%. But guys, that was a massive explosion, and the evacuation was very timely, and it needed to happen, not only just for the air quality, but for the possibility of further explosions. They're monitoring it, they're saying, with drones and helicopters. Now, this is the main reason that I'm coming here. All our best wishes go out to you folks there. You stay safe. Don't be right downwind. If you can move out from under that smoke, even if you're past a mile out, I would suggest doing that also. The fire comes as the fertilizer-grade ammonium nitrate market has been tight after a tumultuous 12 months. Hurricane Ida struck the heart of the U.S. fertilizer industry in late August, and an energy crisis in Europe curbed production. Tight markets have sent fertilizer prices to record highs in late December and remain over 2008 highs. There's a chart that you see here. And guys, for example, last year I think like triple 13 fertilizer was around $14 for a 50-pound bag. Now that's about 20. And not only that, what I did was I went and got enough. I don't have a large garden, but it takes a couple of maybe 100 pounds. And so I bought enough for 3 years, while not only I had to pay the $20, but there may not be any this spring. Are you listening? Are you listening very carefully? And would that be something that is part of the plan? Because we see a lot of things slowing down: oil production, food production, and now we see this. So, don't know what happened in Winston-Salem. Again, last year I think the hurricanes had something to do with that, and I don't know if that was all part of the plan also. But my main warning: the prices have gone up already, and I got mine about a week ago and stored it for 3 years for a reason. Not because I wanted to pay the extra price, but what is left. And actually, they went into the warehouse. They didn't have any out. They went into the warehouse with a forklift and took some off a pallet that had been stored and wrapped in plastic from last year. Okay, I think they had sold a few during deer season because the plots they put out. But if you garden, if you're going to be a gardener, or if you are, then you're going to need the fertilizer. There are natural alternatives if you can get them. But if you're using like triple 13, it's been kind of a main fertilizer for years and years. If you're going to use that, then you need to go now, depending on how much you use per year, at least 3 years. If you're not a gardener, you better become one very quickly. I've been one my whole life, still am. You better become one very quickly or you're going to starve to death. The supply chains are in bad shape. You've got truckers protesting for freedom. And so that's going to, in turn, slow down transport also, right? But they're making a stand for what they believe is right. I can't fault them at all. And I'm not. But you got to look at all the factors that's coming to play in this game right now. You can't hardly afford to buy lumber because of the shutdowns coming from Canada. That's been going on for over a year now. But this fertilizer thing has to do with what you eat. If you're not a gardener, become one. If you're going to use fertilizer, get it now before it's gone. And what little will be available will be so expensive you won't be able to afford it. Let me say this. I read a report yesterday about corn here in the U.S. Because of the price, that was before this explosion, of fertilizer, a lot of farmers are not going to be able to plant nearly as much as they usually do because they can't afford the fertilizer. Is that part of the plan? I hope you understand what we're talking about here. Again, many farmers will not be able to plant. Corn is one of the main things affected because it uses so much fertilizer compared to soybeans. So some will be switching to soybeans if they can get enough fertilizer. The ones that can get some may have to plant much smaller areas. And as this article ends, they're saying this: remember, one thing is sure, high fertilizer prices means food inflation will remain elevated for the year. Hope you're listening, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.